All right. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about how we can take what we know about fractions and what we know about decimals and sort of merge and combine the two. And it's a little bit more of an introduction. So I'm thinking some of this will look familiar, but it's important to see how what we take and what we know can bleed into and it can kind of prep us for some new fraction decimal work as we go. You'll also notice that the guided notes look dramatically different this time. That's okay. That's intentional. This page is sort of my go-to, and so this is what you'll be kind of following along with as I write. The questions will be sort of interspersed throughout instead of all piled up at the end. So it's atypical, but it is, hopefully it'll work. Hopefully. We'll see. All right. So here's how this page is sort of set up and designed to be used. Is I got my fractions up at the top, and then we're going to kind of list the fraction decimal conversion, if you will, meaning we're going to convert to. So what does that mean? All right. Well, I'm going to start with a half. I'm going to put 1/4 on the shelf for a second there. So just sort of ignore that far left-hand column and focus on 1/2. So the fraction for 1/2, like, okay, I see it already is a fraction. But if I'm talking about decimals, I want to be thinking about converting this fraction to tenths. That's kind of the name of the game over here. So I know that 1/2 is equivalent to 5 tenths. And that idea of using equivalent fractions to kind of help guide us to decimals is basically the whole deal. Because once I have this written down as 5 tenths, I can say, well, of course, 5 tenths as a decimal is 5 tenths. Like, duh. It just sort of works. It sort of clicks. It also kind of makes sense why I didn't start with fourths now, because there's really I can't convert fourths to tenths. It doesn't fit neatly into that. I wouldn't literally cross it off, but yeah, that's part of what I'm skipping. So then how does this table work going up and down? Like, all right, 1/2 is 5 tenths is 5 tenths. It's good. How many hundredths would that be? Well, then I can say, well, 5 tenths is, oops, not my highlighter. If I multiply the top and the bottom by 10, is 50 hundredths. And again, as a decimal, 50 hundredths is 50 hundredths. All right, now we're really cooking with gas. Thousandths, it's going to be 500 thousandths. And I could write that as 500 thousandths. Again, why is that work? Because I'm taking these and I'm multiplying the top and the bottom by 10 each time. I'm using and finding equivalent fractions. This is not the direction that we would normally write them, but essentially I'm finding this equivalent fraction here, this equivalent fraction there. And they're all equivalent, but I'm multiplying by 10 to sort of make that leap each time. Okay, then I move on to 1/5. The one directly to the right of it. Again, what I want to do is pay attention to this idea of taking all that we know about equivalent fractions and saying, well, I want to multiply these by 2, because I can move from fifths to tenths, and it becomes, 2 tenths. And then I get simple as just reading it out loud. 2 tenths is 2 tenths. This is how I would write it as a fraction. This is how I would write it as a decimal, but either way, it is read as 2 tenths. So being able to move things to one of these sort of magic denominators is extremely powerful, because those are the same denominators that you use when writing something as a decimal. Again, I multiply the top and the bottom by 10, becomes 20, 1 hundredths, 20 hundredths, boom, 20 hundredths, 10 again, 200 thousandths, becomes 200 thousandths. Again, we take what we know about fractions to see why these are the same. We can also take what we know about decimals to see why those are the same. That extra 0 at the end can add some clarity, but it isn't actually changing my answer. All right. So, interesting. I need a new color here. If I know 1/5 is 2 tenths, I know that 2/5 is 4/10, right? It also works because I can show that if I multiply the top and the bottom by 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 5 times 2 is 10, 4/10 is 4/10. Hundredths, I got 40 hundredths. I would write it as 40 hundredths. Thousandths is 400 thousandths. I would write it as 400, and then I add the zeros to make sure I'm staying in the thousandths place value. All right, I'm actually going to skip 3/5 and 4/5 and go back and revisit my 1/4. That's a lie. You tell me, what is 3/5 going to be? All right, now we're going to go back and revisit 1/4. A couple different ways we could take a look at this is, again, I'm gonna omit this top section here. I'm going to go straight to hundredths and focus on that idea of now thinking of how I know 1/4 and 1/2 are connected. If a fourth is just kind of taking a half and cutting it in half. Now that I have 50 hundredths to work with, how can I use that to say, what would something half as big be? It would be 25 hundredths. How would I write 25 hundredths? As a decimal, 25 hundredths. A quarter is equal to a quarter. Imagine that. Yeah, no secrets here. Oops, I started writing decimals instead of fractions. 250 thousandths. I add the 0 to become 250 thousandths. Fast forward over here to 3/4. I could either think about what I know about having 3/4 or 3/4 to answer this question. I could also think about what I know about having 1/4 and 1/2 together. That would make 3/4. I could look at my 50 and my 25. I'm actually going to pivot a little bit to go back to my original strategy that I was using with tenths, which is to say I have my 3/4. Let me use red again. I actually want to say, well, I would multiply it by 25 to get to 100, and I multiply the top by the same thing. And that's how I end up with 3 times 25 is 75. 4 times 25 is 100. I'm not suggesting we would actually do that because certainly there's better ways. I'm just pointing out that the math holds up. The strategies and the plans and this equals this, and we multiply this times that, and we add zeros here. All of those pieces still work. All right, and then to tackle 1/8, I'm gonna play around some more. In fact, I'm gonna go back to my quarter, my 1/4. If I were to draw a picture, boom, beautiful picture. Those are fourths. In order to get an eighth, I take a fourth and I cut it in half. Right now, I've got 8. I cut everything in half. 8 equal pieces. I can't really cut 25 cents in half. If there's 2 of us and I got 25 cents, I can't divide that by 2 evenly. But if I look at my table, I can see that, it's 25 cents. It is also 250 thousandths. So I'm going to add my extra 0 here and say, now that I have 250, that's actually something I can divide by 2. That's actually something I can cut up. In order to do it, I need all 3 place values in order for that to work. So I have a 1, that's the 200, and then the 50 divided by 2 is 25. It's not 125, it's 125 thousandths, of course. But it doesn't work to put it in tenths. It doesn't work to put it in hundredths. I got to come all the way down here to the thousandths place value. And now that I use some decimal work to solve that, I'm going to work backwards from what I have been doing and say, well, 125 thousandths is 125 thousandths. All right. So let's talk about thirds. Thirds don't play as nicely with fourths as eighths do. You know, like I could draw this cool picture about, kind of looks like a pirate steering wheel. Like eighths and fourths, I see the connection. Fifths and tenths, I see the connection. Thirds, I'm kind of like, it's a head scratcher. So I'm going to draw a picture. All right, so I'm going to play around with a third as a fraction for a minute and think about what does that mean. So on my tenths, like I could see, I'm dividing it into 3 equal parts. So I mean, like there's a part, there's a part, there's a part. So I mean, I got 3/10. Boom. But then I also need more. Like I need something to do with happen with these guys. Like I can't just skip it, right? I have to use the whole. So I need to figure out a way to kind of divide that into thirds as well. So to do that, I need smaller pieces, right? So, all right, I got this 1/3, and there's a third here, and there's a third here. All right, and then I can focus on just that one little column and then say, okay, well, that's one part, and there's another part, and there's another part. And those would each be hundredths. So, all right, cool. I know that there's a hundredth there too. But man, this one still, I have this weird little corner now that's left. So I need to be able to divide that up too. Aha, thousandths. I got it. I got it. So you get it. I got like 300ths. Or 3/10ths. I got 300ths. Okay, cool. And then I got right there. I got 3 thousandths, and then there's 3 red thousandths, and then there's 3 blue thousandths. Perfection. 3. Is there one more down there? Man. Aha! I have it. There's my tenths. There's my hundredths. There's my thousandths. And then this bottom one, I got 1, 2, 3 of them there. And I got 1, 2, 3 red ones. Oh man, this is perfect. 1, 2, 3. What? Is it possible that there's one more 10,000ths down there? I think you see where this is going. I can't take this number divided by 3. I end up with infinitely smaller amounts that I'm dividing into 3. So we will end up with, typically, because we stop at thousands, use this 0.33 or 333 thousandths, although that's not technically accurate. What we really want to show is that it's going to be 0.3 and it repeats on forever. And that little line above the 3 means take this number and just repeat it on infinitely. There's no end to it. Doesn't matter how small I make my picture or how many iterations I go through and divide this into tinier pieces, there's always going to be one more left over, and I'm always going to need one more tinier bit. So this is what we were going to need. Again, we will write it most often as 333 thousandths, but in reality, it does go on infinitely and keep dividing up. So if you jot that down on your thirds column, you are done.